My name is Claire, and I'm 29 years old. For the past 3 years, I've been married to Daniel, a kind and hardworking man. However, my story isn't just about us. It's about the weight I carried to support my in laws and what happened when everything fell apart. From the moment I married Daniel, I noticed something unusual. His parents, Margaret and Robert, were always talking about money problems. Margaret, my mother-in-law, had a habit of asking for a little help here and there. At first, it didn't seem like a big deal. I was happy to help because family means everything to me. But soon, the little requests turned into much bigger ones: grocery bills, utilities, medical expenses. Before I knew it, I was covering almost every living expense for them. Margaret would smile sweetly and say, "Thank you, Claire. You're such a good daughter-in-law." I thought she appreciated me. I thought I was doing the right thing. Daniel worked full-time, but his salary went toward paying off student loans and saving for our future. So I took on the responsibility of managing both our household expenses and the extra costs for his parents. I worked overtime at my office job, skipped vacations, and even cut back on my own needs to keep up with the bills. I didn't realize the truth until much later. Margaret didn't just take my help for granted. She believed it was her right. She treated me like I owed her this support, as if my marriage to Daniel came with an unspoken contract to take care of his entire family. One evening, I overheard her talking to a friend on the phone. "Claire doesn't mind helping out," she said. Her tone was smug, not grateful. She knows it's her duty as my daughter-in-law. My chest tightened. Was this really how she saw me? Not as a family member, but as a source of money? Despite her attitude, I kept sending the money. I told myself that it wasn't worth creating tension in the family. But deep down, I felt the resentment growing. Margaret rarely said thank you anymore, and Robert simply ignored me. Daniel was supportive, but he often reminded me, "They're my parents, Claire. We can't just leave them struggling." Things reached a boiling point one Saturday afternoon. Margaret called me into the living room. Her voice was cold. "Claire, I need to talk to you." I sat down, nervous. "What's wrong?" "This is my house," she said sharply, "and I've decided it's time for you to leave. You've been disrespectful and controlling for too long." I blinked in shock. "What are you talking about?" "I've been paying for everything here," she waved her hand dismissively. "We didn't ask you to do that. If you want to act like you're better than us because of your money, you can find somewhere else to live." Before I could argue, Margaret stood up and handed me an envelope. "Here are your things. I've already changed the locks." I felt like the floor had been ripped out from under me. How could she do this to me after everything I had done? I packed a bag and left, still in disbelief. But as I walked out the door, I made a decision. If Margaret didn't value my help, then she wouldn't get it anymore. And that's when everything started to change. I moved in with a close friend, Emily, who welcomed me with open arms. Sitting in her cozy apartment, I replayed the scene in my mind over and over. Margaret had thrown me out like I was nothing, despite everything I had sacrificed for her family. That night, I made a firm decision. I would stop sending the money. If Margaret didn't value me, she could see how far she got without my support. The first week passed quietly. I didn't hear a word from Margaret or Robert. Daniel was caught in the middle, torn between loyalty to his parents and his wife. He visited me often and promised to talk to his mother, but I could tell he was struggling. By the second week, cracks began to show. Daniel called me late one evening, sounding stressed. "Claire, Mom's upset. The electricity got cut off because the bill wasn't paid." I sighed. "Daniel, I told you I'm not paying for anything anymore. They have to figure it out themselves." "I know," he said hesitantly, "but they're really struggling. Maybe you could just help this one time?" "No," I interrupted firmly. "This isn't my responsibility anymore. They made their choice when they kicked me out." There was silence on the other end of the line before he quietly said, "You're right. I'll try to talk to them." By the third week, the situation had spiraled out of control. Margaret called me directly for the first time since she kicked me out. Her voice, which was usually sharp and demanding, now had a desperate edge to it. "Claire, we need to talk," she began. "The water has been shut off, and we don't have money to fix it." I could feel the anger bubbling up inside me. Oh, really? That's surprising, considering you didn't need my money before. Her voice hardened. Don't be petty, Claire. This is about family. No, Margaret, I said, my voice steady. This is about respect. You didn't appreciate what I did for you, so now you get to see what life is like without my help. She tried to argue, but I hung up. For the first time in years, I felt a sense of power and freedom. I wasn't going to let her manipulate me anymore. The fourth week brought even more chaos. Daniel told me that Robert had tried to pawn some family heirlooms to cover the mortgage. Margaret's pride was crumbling as the reality of their financial struggles hit. She sent message after message, apologizing one moment and blaming me the next. Then came the moment I never expected. Daniel showed up at Emily's apartment with a serious expression. Claire, you're not going to believe this, he said. Mom asked if you could come back. I raised an eyebrow. After everything she said, what? Why? She said she realizes how much you've done for them and that they can't manage without you. I crossed my arms. Daniel, I'm not going back there. I've built my life back up, and I'm not sacrificing it again. He nodded slowly. I understand. I'll stand by whatever you decide. Later that night, I received another message from Margaret. This time, it wasn't just an apology, it was a plea. For forgiveness, Margaret's message sat on my phone screen, glowing in the dim light of Emily's living room. I hesitated for a moment before opening it. Her words surprised me. Claire, I know I've made mistakes. I should have appreciated everything you did for us. Please come back, we need you. For a moment, I felt a flicker of vindication. She finally understood how much I had sacrificed. But as I stared at her words, I realized something important. I didn't need her approval or gratitude anymore. I had found my strength by walking away, and I wasn't going to let her pull me back into the same toxic cycle. The next morning, Daniel and I had a long talk. He admitted that he had always known his parents took advantage of me, but he had felt trapped between them and our marriage. I should have stood up for you earlier, he said, looking genuinely remorseful. I see now how unfair it was to let you carry all that weight alone. I appreciated his honesty, but it didn't erase the years of stress and sacrifice. Daniel, I said, I need to take care of myself now. If you want to be with me, you have to be fully on my side. No more excuses for your parents. He nodded. I'm with you. Whatever you decide, I'll support you. Feeling more confident, I decided to meet Margaret one last time. Not to return to their home, but to make my boundaries clear. We met at a small cafe downtown. Margaret looked different, almost fragile, as if the weight of her choices had finally caught up to her. Claire, she began, I'm so sorry for everything I said and did. I was wrong to take you for granted. I leaned back in my chair, keeping my expression calm. You didn't just take me for granted, Margaret. You kicked me out of your house after I paid for everything. Do you have any idea how humiliating that was? She looked down, unable to meet my gaze. I know I was wrong. Please just give us another chance. I'm not coming back, I said firmly. I'll always care about Daniel, but I can't be part of a family that doesn't respect me. You need to figure out how to manage your own finances. Margaret's face crumpled, but I didn't let myself feel guilty. I had done enough for her family. It was time to focus on my own happiness. Over the next few weeks, I started to rebuild my life. Emily's support and encouragement helped me regain my confidence. I threw myself into my career and even began saving for a new home of my own. Daniel stayed by my side, and for the first time in years, we felt like equals in our marriage. He stopped making excuses for his parents and started setting boundaries with them. Margaret and Robert had to downsize to a smaller home, and though they struggled at first, they eventually found a way to manage without my help. As for me, I learned an invaluable lesson. Self-respect is non-negotiable. I had spent so much time trying to please everyone else that I forgot to value myself. Walking away wasn't just the best thing I could do for myself. It was the best thing I could do for my marriage, too. Now I live with a sense of peace I hadn't felt in years. Margaret occasionally sends messages thanking me for teaching her a lesson, but I keep my distance. I've learned that some relationships are healthier with boundaries, and that's okay. In the end, I didn't just survive, I thrived. And I'm proud of the life I've built, free from the burdens of others' expectations.